All right, welcome to another Sofa Side Zen Talk, and today I'm going to be talking about the Zen teacher. So often you will see a, quote, Zen teacher, unquote, at a Zen center. That's usually what they have, and usually it could be somebody who says that they are a Zen monk, which means that they may be somebody who has taken the Bodhisattva vows and the Samanara precepts, or maybe not. It's kind of confusing these days as to that. And but generally, the Zen teacher is somebody who pretty much is the leader of the Sangha these days, and that's pretty much what I see. And this is something that people kind of like, well, this is my teacher and they taught me how to sit. They taught me all these things about Buddhism and Zen, you know, and I'm like, so what did the teacher teach you? They're like, well, the teacher taught me how to bow. They taught me how to enter the Zendo, how to properly come to my place of meditation, and I bow to the cushion, and I bow to the other practitioners, and I bow to the Buddha statue, and then I take my seat, and then I do another little bow once I take my seat, and then I do Zazen. And I said, okay. So they're teaching you this formalities. They're teaching you this these customs that may or may not be from Japan. We don't know. But they're just teaching you formalities and a routine. Well, yeah, when they call that Zen. Okay, oh, okay. And so what else does a teacher do? Well, you know, they do these little talks where they talk about Buddha or Dharma, or they talk about Zen. You know, mostly about the trials and tribulations of sitting in Zazen. You know, aching knees and all the thoughts and things that come up in their head, and how we're supposed to not be attached to our thoughts, how we're supposed to just let them go, let them go, let them go. I'm like, okay, so you're basically meditating, and you're watching your thoughts come and go, and then you go, yeah, we do that, and then the bell rings, and then we get up, and then we maybe have a talk, or we have a social time, and then maybe there's a project where we clean, or we make things, you know, maybe we do some sewing, or maybe we do some other things, some crafts, and then we, you know, then when they ring a bell, and then we go home. Oh, okay. So it's a contemplative kind of environment, usually no talking kind of thing. Like, yeah. And I said, so what else does the Zen teacher do? And they're like, well, you know, they're the officiant for all the ceremonies. And, you know, they're the ones that make the offerings of incense and water and food and to the Buddha statues. And they're the ones that, you know, bless the room and bless the students. And they're the ones that maybe try to talk about, you know, to strive towards enlightenment, to strive to be the Bodhisattva. And they're the ones that really talk about, you know, this whole thing called Zen, about how we're supposed to really be practicing hard on the cushion and keep meditating. Okay, so they're there for encouragement. Oh yes, they tell me. And so then what else does the teacher do? They go, oh, we have these little private interviews where we tell the teacher what's going on in our minds, in our head, and thoughts, and the teacher usually gives us some sort of opinion about what we should do with that, or or some advice, and moves on. And I'm like, okay, so this is really just is this really a teacher? What are they really teaching you? And a lot of people just say, well, they're teaching Zen. And I'm saying, so the sitting, the Zazen, the forms, the formalities, and all the little custom things that you do when you greet each other, the bowings and the silence and the contemplation and the sewing, the cleaning, these little interviews that you have, that's all Zen. Well, isn't it? No, that's not Zen. Oh. So you're telling me then that my sitting on the Zazen is not Zen. That all the Dokusans and the little interviews with the teachers, which is called Dokusan, the all this things that we do is not Zen. That's right. I'm telling you that that's not Zen. Oh, and so you're telling me the robes, the rokusu, this little bib that I'm wearing, that's what they wear, these little bibs, and this the haircut, you know, going bald or very short haircut, that's not Zen. And I'm going, that's exactly right. That's not Zen either. So now the person is confused, and they're like, okay, so if you're telling me that my 10, 15 years at the Zen Center practicing Zazen is not Zen, then what is Zen? That's usually the question they ask. And I always come back and say Zen is the intuitive knowing of ultimate reality. It's the intuitive docking, for a lack of any word, it's the intuitive accessing knowledge beyond words and comprehension of Buddha nature. You can feel it. You can know it when it happens, but you can't think it to happen. You can't think your way to have Zen. Zen is an intuitive notion, and when you let go of this concepts of yourself, concepts of Zen, concepts of the world, concepts of a lot of things, the intuitive flow happens. And you're accessing the direct Buddha nature for yourself. And you're accessing the direct Buddha nature that brings infinite wisdom and infinite knowledge. And over time, your intuitive flow into this Buddha nature becomes easier and easier and easier. It shows up in many of the darndest places. When you work, when you're at rest, when you're driving, when you're speaking, when you're teaching, it shows up. And you know what to do because it was the right thing to do, but you didn't think it. You didn't think that I was going to do the right thing, and then the right thing happened. The right thing just happened. Usually at this point, I have the big wide eyes from the student. And they're just like, wow, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That doesn't sound like Zen, because isn't Zen sitting on the Zendo? Isn't that Zazen? And I'm like, no, that's performance art. And it has nothing to do with Zen. You're doing the same thing that all these other people have done. And they realized that Zen was too hard, too elusive, too difficult for them to really flow into. So they cheapened it. They say it's a cushion. You sit on a cushion and be like a Buddha statue. When you're sitting in Zazen, you're creating the Buddha field around you, and now you're Buddha. Really? Is that really how it's happening? How is that working for you, by the way? Are you Buddha yet? Most Zen students admit that the Zazen, they're trying, they're hoping. 10, 15, 20 years later, not much has happened. So, and I'm saying, and this is what your teachers are teaching you. And I'm like, well, yeah, you know, he's the Dharma heir of some other teacher. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? They're like, well, isn't he enlightened? And I said, who told you that? And they think about it, and they're like, well, yeah, you know, nobody told them that. They just assumed it. Did the teacher tell you that they are enlightened? Gonna have a feeling they never told you that. Did anybody at the Zen Center tell you that the teacher's enlightened? Probably not. A lot of people may have assumed the teacher's enlightened. A lot of teachers may have hinted and may have made some sort of gesture or some sort of indication that maybe the teacher is enlightened, or that somehow the teacher knows. But is the teacher truly enlightened? Is the teacher truly Buddha? If the teacher is truly Buddha and is teaching you how to become Buddha, then why are you not Buddha? If the teacher is truly enlightened and teaching you how to be enlightened, why are you not enlightened yet? Why are none of the students enlightened? Why is nobody that goes to the Zen Center enlightened? So you see what happens in these situations. People cheapen. The teachers cheapen the Dharma. They say, well, practice is now bowing at the Buddha statue. Practice is now bowing at each other. Practice is now turning Dharma wheels, which you'll see at some temples. Practice is now fanning these sutra fans, and you'll see that as well too. Practice is now assuming postures. You know, you'll see them with their hands in the air or in a barrel shape or kind of out in front of them for extended periods of time. And they're told that these are magical holy postures that create a Buddha field, that allow for the great cosmic energies to come inside of them and infuse them with great wisdom. Do you believe that? Do you believe that standing in a posture with your arms out in front of you or above your head or to the side is channeling in spiritual energy that is transforming you to become Buddha? Do you believe that sitting still in a Buddha statue-like position is becoming Buddha? So the teacher in the Zen Sangha is often the focal point. And a lot of times they become people's Zen Daddy. And a lot of people defer a lot of responsibility. They just sort of give the teacher all of their spiritual responsibilities. They just give the teacher their entire spiritual mission. They're like, I just let the teacher. He's my Zen Daddy. He tells me what to do. The Zen Daddy will do it for me. He'll take care of me. You know, the Zen Daddy, he's doing the sitting, the sessions. He's doing everything. And they just advocate all of their responsibility to the Zen Daddy. And unfortunately, the Zen Daddy finds himself in an immense amount of power where people will do anything they say because they truly believe he's enlightened. Or at least somehow in their mind, when they decided that the teacher is now their Zen Daddy, now the teacher's enlightened. And there's nothing you can say or do that's going to dissuade them from the fact that the Zen teacher is now the Zen Daddy. And they just advocated everything to the Zen teacher. Everything. All of their practice is now in the Zen teacher's hands. They will do nothing for themselves. So whatever the Zen teacher says, they're just like, oh, okay, oh, yes, teacher, whatever, teacher, oh, teacher, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you saw this crap with Osho. He was your Osho daddy. He was your guru. He was the man. Everybody advocated the responsibility to him. You saw this with Trungpa. You saw this with so many other teachers who became the Zen Daddy. And they realized all of this power, all these people literally ready to throw themselves in front of them. They would die for this, the Zen Daddy. Is that you? Did you make that person your Zen Daddy? Maybe you are the Zen Daddy. You like it? Is that what Buddha taught? Is that practice? Is this the Mahayana? Is this the Bodhisattva path? To be the Zen Daddy? To have a Zen Daddy? The purpose of a teacher is not to be your daddy. The purpose of the teacher is to at least help you understand your own responsibility of true practice, your own responsibility to the Buddha, to the Dharma, and to the Sangha, to help you understand what it means to be on the Bodhisattva path and the awesome responsibility that you have to it. The Zen teacher is there to help you create a truly strong practice, a practice of the Bodhisattva, the practice of relinquishment, the practice of abandonment, the practice of looking at all of the stink of yourself and bringing it up and showing it to everybody and then denouncing it and walking away from all this stinky crap that you call yourself. The teacher facilitates that. They encourage you to do that. And when you can do that, when you can truly walk the Bodhisattva path by yourself, the Zen teacher goes away. They don't need to be there. They're not your daddy. They're not there to hold your hand. And then you see that the Zen teacher for who he really was, or she, they're just another Sangha member like you. They're just another Bodhisattva like you, trying very hard to become Buddha like you. And when you fully understand the true position of the Zen teacher and understand the awesome responsibility that the Zen teacher has to the students, then you can become a teacher yourself. But if you fail to understand that, and you fail your students by cheapening the path, by claiming it's still sitting, or it's bowing, or it's making offerings to the Buddha statue, or turning Dharma wheels, or sewing rakusus. If you cheapen the practice and you become the Zen Daddy, you are not a Buddhist. You're not a Bodhisattva. There's a word for that, and you won't like it, but it's called being a demon. And that's what has happened in a lot of places. And they're filled with these Zen Daddy demons. So, the true teacher let's say you go ahead, you walk the Bodhisattva path. You're excising all that stinky crap in you, all this stinky self, all of this lust, greed, anger, everything, all this stupid stuff in your head, all this conceptualization of what is and isn't Buddhism, what is and isn't Zen. And you relinquish it all. You start to let it go. That's when the true teacher will start to really speak the Dharma to you. And you know who I'm talking about. It's the Buddha. The cosmic Buddha. Not Sakyamuni Buddha. That's a Vairocana Buddha. He's done and gone. But he did leave us the Dharma, and he did leave us how to listen to the Dharma. And when you get rid of all this stinky crap of yourself, you will meet your true teacher. You will see your true teacher for yourself. And you will come to understand that that is and always has been the true teacher. Not some Zen daddy. This is the true path of Buddhahood. Yes, I'm a different Buddhist. I'm not the kind of person that you would commonly see in a Zen center. But I am here to tell you the true path of the Bodhisattva and the true path of Zen. It is my sincere belief and hope to help you create a strong practice, that of the Bodhisattva practice. So you have a strong faith in Buddha. You will strongly adhere and study the Dharma and listen to it. And listen to it truly listen to it. Have a strong Sangha, because a strong Sangha is vital. And when you have a strong practice with all of the right elements, then you will truly walk the Bodhisattva path of liberation, wisdom, and all the powers and all the knowledge of the Buddhas will come to you. Now, don't just believe this because I said this. Do it for yourself. Know this to be true for yourself. You can do this. It's been done before. It can be done again. All right. Thank you very much.